Good evening, YouTube family. Welcome to another Two Family Homestead live stream. Woo!
Well, it's Tuesday. How's everybody doing? I see we got a few people in here. Mama Z, Dutch Off Grid, Silhouette Park Farm. How you doing? Building a Rock Homestead. Jandera, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, I hope. Geeky Gardens, good evening. So, glad to see you're all available to spend a little bit of time together here tonight. So, I'm a little curious. Of those that are in here, and I see we only have about 11 in here right now, maybe 12. Out of those folks that are in here, how many of you are, number one, watching on a phone? And how many are using a computer? So if you just type in phone or PC or computer in the chat, I'm a little curious to see what the views are in here tonight. Heaven Gates Cherry Farm, good evening. Boots and Bounty Homestead, how are you doing tonight? Big Dreams Homestead. Okay, phone, PC, on my phone. Okay, so there's a relatively high percentage, more so than what people I think would think. Yeah, I'm gonna count a laptop as just a PC or computer. But there's a large percentage of people that just do this on a phone. So the next thing that comes into question is how many of those folks on a phone are using iOS and how many are using Android? So anybody using iOS? Is there any iPhone people in here or iPad people? iPhone, iPad, iOS, or Mac operating system? Had to get a new router and it's not user-friendly to set up. Some of them are not. Silhouette Park is running an iPhone or an iOS system. Android. Android is probably dominant, but iOS has a big percentage. But the first thing I want to talk about tonight is those of you that have either iPhones, iPads, Mac operating systems. Do you all have, I'm going to say, either an Android or PC available system that you could access if you wanted to? Or are you strictly in the realm of being tethered to Apple? And there's a good question for this, because if you are totally dependent upon using an Apple device, there is a high possibility that you are paying a premium, yes, a premium for online services. And this is not anything new, but it's coming more and more to light. And I'll explain that here in a moment. It became very apparent to me in chatting with some other people that we kind of take things for granted when we talk about prices throughout YouTube and services that are available on the net. They say, well, for example, YouTube Red, or the where you pay for the privilege of not having to see ads. There's a fee involved with that. Obviously, YouTube is going to make their money. But did you know that there's a difference in price if you elect to purchase that service? If you're using an iPhone or an Android device, and people are going to go, "Wow, no, I didn't think so." But let me share with you here. Okay. YouTube membership more if using an iPhone. So if you have a premium membership, use an iPhone or an iPad. So let's say it's music membership or some other premium service. There's a very, very good possibility it's costing you more every single month if you use an Apple device. And the reason for that is Apple charges to go through their device. They charge vendors on the other end. And Google says, well, okay, if you're going to charge me, Apple, then I'm just going to pass that charge onto the consumer, which would be you folks that are, you go out and you spend a premium price to begin with for your Apple device. And now you continually pay a premium price. Typically, it's around $3 a month. Now, okay, that's not a lot. That's what, $36 a year, and you go, well, okay, so that's a nice dinner out. We'll just forfeit a dinner and pay our $36, but that's for one service. And let's say that you have a music account, and you elect to get a Red account, and maybe you want to get TV through YouTube. Well, before you know it, you may be paying $12, $15, $18, $21 a month in a premium price. You don't get any extra service. It just costs more because you signed up for that service through the iOS platform. And that's why I asked if you have a way to access not only YouTube, but other places as well. Just check the prices. Check the prices between an iOS operating system and, I'm going to use the term, a standard PC.
Here, I made a comment for you.
If you buy the premium on the PC, no, that's from what I understand, it does not. If you make the initial purchase using a PC, you get it for the quote-unquote normal price. So, and this just supports this. There are two separate prices for YouTube premium services. If you have already paid for the premium and you access it using your iOS device, well, that's fine. You've already paid for it. It's yours. It's the bill paying part of it. If you pay through your Apple account, or if you set up originally going through your iOS device, that's where you're stuck. And here's what has happened and what has gotten some people upset, rightfully so. They didn't used to do this. There was a long period of time where there wasn't this premium price. The price point was not being added to, and there was really not much said about it. And people don't check their bills that closely. And all of a sudden, all these little extra services for $3 a month extra for each one of them. And, you know, that's a pretty high percentage in many cases. If you're looking at a $20 a month plan for something, $19.99, and you get hit with a $3 to $5 surcharge on top of that, well, that's a significant increase. It's not like 3% that is charged extra for a credit card. The iOS devices are charging the vendors 30%. 30% seems to be the magic number. When you folks leave a super chat on a channel, well, Google/YouTube, they take 30%. And I say, well, okay, that's fine because they're the ones supplying the service. So I don't have a problem with that at all. But you should be aware that for every supposed, and you'll see this especially in large, very popular YouTuber streams. People are throwing $100 bills at them, especially around Christmas time and things like that. Well, they throw that $100 out. $30 of it immediately gets taken to YouTube. And in the case of however it originally came, it could be more. It could be as much as $45 being taken off right off the top. But again, YouTube is the one bringing you the service. We don't pay YouTube to play on their platform. They're providing that free. And anything that we do make from it is gravy. It's just purely gravy. Now, do we make a lot? No, we don't make a lot. I found it very interesting that Stivers put out a video today that just happened to talk about money. And Zach and I didn't talk or anything. We haven't talked today at all. But I thought it was very interesting that he put out a video today that he talked about making money on YouTube and how they do not depend on it because it varies so wildly. He used the example that some months are $400 or $500. I'd love to see those months. We don't get those. And some months are $4,000 or $5,000. I'd really love to see those. We don't see those. But
YouTube income is like child support. You can't count on
well, it's probably worse than child support because with child support in a lot of cases, you could count on it.
stop paying, you know.
Well, yeah, but it depends. It depends on the quality of the individual. That's
You know the quality I have.
yeah. Sherry did not have very good luck with her ex. So, but that's neither here nor there. At least the order was there, but with YouTube, it's hit or miss. It goes into views. It goes into ultimately time being viewed. So it's number of views, time being viewed, and the opportunity for an advertiser to present their product in front of an audience, hopefully that the audience will click on it and buy their product. So it's a big circle rat race thing. But it's always been that way. It's always been that way. You go back pre-internet and just let's go back to the days when you had the TV set and everybody watched some TV on Sundays or something. For every hour of a show that was supposed to be there, if you wanted to watch Mr. Ed or Perry Mason or some other show, the show itself was only 40 minutes. Is that about right, hon? About 40 minutes out of an hour? The old TV shows?
Yeah, commercials.
Yeah, the rest of it was all commercials. And you didn't have the option on your TV set to click the little button and say, close the commercial after 5 seconds. You can get that option. So anyway, the whole point I wanted to bring and make people aware of is that the operating system that you utilize to access your information or entertainment, or however you look at it, not only on YouTube, but in other platforms on the internet, could vary in price based upon the device you're using to contact that provider and pay their fee. And it's not that provider gets any more. It's just that a lot of these providers now are saying, okay, Apple, we're not going to eat your extra 30% anymore. People can come to us and they can buy the service from us, not going through your device. And why should we pay you that premium? So I just wanted to make people aware of that. This is not. They get into talking a lot more about the prices and what percentage does Apple take from app sales. It's 30%, and you will need to install the YouTube app. So YouTube free on Apple TV. You need to install the YouTube app. It is free, available in the App Store, and that's fine until you go to pay for subscription. So it's not costing you anything to download the app. Don't get charged for in-app purchases. This can go down such a rabbit hole. I don't even want to go real deep into it. But I did want to make you aware that this is becoming more and more prevalent, not only within YouTube, but places like Etsy, eBay, and there's some rumblings that this is also going to be affecting things like Amazon, the Microsoft Store. So it's not only YouTube, but it's people like Apple have realized, okay, we have provided you a service. We've provided you a handheld device that you can access the internet, and it's not enough that you have to pay us a premium price to obtain this, because they are the most expensive. But we're going to go on the back end, and all these providers that want to provide services to you to pay for, well, we're going to get a cut of that too. So Patreon is another one.
How does premium YouTube work? Do the channels we watch still get paid for ads?
If okay, who's asking the question?
Big Dreams.
Okay, how does premium YouTube work? Okay, the way that the premium works, and I'm assuming we're talking. I'm going to use the short term here called YouTube Red. When I go into the analytics, for example, and we're not a good one to look at this because we don't get these, 25,000 views on a video, so it's a little tougher for us to see this. But for those people that watch the videos that have the premium service apply where they paid for it, it shows up in the analytics as YouTube Red payments. So in other words, they're not getting any commercials, but the provider, the creator, is still getting paid something for the that their video was watched. I do not have any way to determine, again, because we don't have the kind of content that we're getting 25,000 views a day. We don't have that kind of content. But if you had that, you could make a pretty good determination as to just maybe what percentage of that you're getting with Red. When I see YouTube Red show up on one of our videos, it's a penny. It's maybe 1.5 cents or something. So it's not a lot, but none of the others are either. Sherry and I were talking the other day. One of our 1,000 view videos. Hey, it made 79 cents. We're tickled. 79 cents, but it's still out there and it's still producing a little bit. But in a week, it made 79 cents. That's pretty neat to think that we created something that's actually making some money. We just got to figure out something that makes a lot more. That's all. But everybody says that. Like I said, this is not necessarily new, but it's becoming more and more into the new stream here because so many places are going, okay, Apple, we're not paying you anymore. Matter of fact, we are telling people to discontinue our service through your app and come to us directly because it's cheaper for them. So it's just a way to save more money. I wanted to share that with you. There's all kinds of articles out here about it. Here, YouTube TV will cancel subscriptions of customers using Apple's in-app payment. This was in March of last year. And I didn't really pick up on this at the time, but we don't get our TV through YouTube. Well, we don't get our TV through anybody. But for those of you that maybe do, last March, YouTube canceled people's subscriptions if they purchased a service using an iOS device. They just stopped accepting new signups and told people, go elsewhere, go to your local library, go wherever you want to go, get a PC and sign up for our service, and then just watch it on that device. And so it affects other services like Hulu, Sling, some of the other streaming services. So anyway, that was the main thing that I kind of wanted to talk about here right now, and I'm trying to look back over at the monitors, see what anybody else is saying about it. What's TV? YouTube for me? Well, I understand that, but again, it's the same thing. Let's say you want to. I was not able to prove this, maybe because I do everything YouTube-wise through the computer. I have an iPhone, but I will only watch YouTube on this if we're away from the house. Now, Sherry watches some of it, but we don't make purchases through the iPhone. That's all done through the computer. I have heard talk that channel memberships and other services, if purchased through this device, cost more money. So I wanted to share that in case anybody wanted to become a member of our channel. We would certainly appreciate it, but I just wanted to share that, let you take that into consideration. They talk in here, let's see. YouTube TV regularly costs $49.99, but subscribers who pay through Apple are charged a higher $54.99. So that's $5 more per month, just because they bought it through an Apple device. And of course, people complain, so YouTube is just saying, well, we're just not going to accept subscriptions that way anymore.
But you tried it and it didn't show up on your phone.
And that could be because they're not accepting it. And the only thing, I didn't go look at the TV thing. So, anyway, I just wanted you to all see that. The other thing that I want to talk about, because some people have asked, was setting up OBS. Unless somebody else wants to, has some other question here. And I see we have some more people in here. Old Reading Farm, Wide Family Farm, Down Under Farm and Forge, Keto Homestead with Jess. Wow, we got some great channels in here. So let me drag you over to the other computer here. All right. So what you're looking at here now is the laptop that I have that is totally separate from the platform that we're using. So I can do and create everything here, and obviously I couldn't go into my OBS program and do anything because that's how you're seeing me. So this is on a different computer. It's totally independent, totally separate. And it is connected with a capture card through an HDMI port off of the computer that we're streaming here with. So what I have here is the latest version of OBS Studio, but I don't have any scenes or sources set up, no pages set up, no anything like that. So it's a pretty clean installation. When I say pretty clean, it's been on the computer, but I went through and deleted a bunch of extra things out of it that I had added. and I think it's a pretty fair representation of things you're going to have to do once you elect to start with OBS. Now, let me first say one of the reasons I think you should start with OBS, even if you don't want to stream with it, is it's so much more than a broadcasting platform. You can record with it. You can create your videos with it. You can't do nitty-gritty editing as far as getting into the videos and editing that, but you can create ways to enhance your video. If you want to do a voiceover on a video that you edited, you can't hardly beat this platform at all. You could come in with your face in the side and do a voiceover on a video, add music, completely change the look of the video or the sound. And let's say you're one of these people, you want to use, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think here. What's the one with the duck on it? It's the streaming platform that they go through the browser. It has a little duck up in the corner. All right, who uses the duck out there? I'm sure somebody does. Or XSplit or Skype or Zoom or any other one. OBS has a StreamYard. So,
Misty said it.
Thank you, Misty. So OBS has what's called a virtual webcam. And with that virtual webcam, you can utilize OBS to create a custom camera setting for you to broadcast to StreamYard, to Zoom, to Skype, or to any other platform, even as far as doing a direct to YouTube stream, because it shows up as a camera to all these other applications. So you just simply go into OBS, and this allows you to change backgrounds. If you want to, if you wanted to have a discussion, like when I'm sitting here and I can switch back and forth between this scene where I'm showing you on this other monitor some of the other things that we want to talk about. I can switch to another computer. I could come in here and I can play videos. I could put a whatever color background that I want on the screen. I can show you JPEGs, all types of pictures, and I can prepare all this off to the side, which would be this left-hand side here, without it going live. Now, if I come down here, I can switch this. This is probably how you would see it when you first installed the program. There's not two windows here. This is the live window. This is the one that it broadcasts. And any changes you make during the broadcast are instantly being done. But I can come in here and I can click Studio. And when I click Studio, it divides it into two things. So the left-hand side is your building area. And the right-hand side is what you are broadcasting. So, for example, and we're not going to go into settings here right now on this. If somebody has a question about settings, we can talk about it. But the settings are going to be dependent upon, number one, your operating system, how much horsepower your computer has, CPU, your graphics card, how much throughput you have on a connection. So that's a big open subject, and all of that information is available out there. YouTube will tell you how, the amount of throughput that you need for various size formats that you would want to broadcast to them. If you wanted to broadcast, let's look at it this way. Right now, I am broadcasting at what would be considered 720p, and 720p is high definition. It's not ultra high definition. Actually, they may call it standard definition, but it's good enough for the inexpensive TV sets that you can pick up at your local retailer. Most of those are 720p. Now you go up to the next level, then you get into the 1080p, and you go, well, what's the difference? The picture's the same size. It's the same size screen, so. Well, it isn't, it isn't. And the difference there is the amount of pixels that are being displayed in that same size rectangle that are there. And of course, the step up from a 1080p would be into a 2K, into a 4K, and it even goes up into 8K. But as that increases in that definition, here's what that gets you. It gets you a sharper picture. It's a little bit sharper picture. However, to get that sharper picture, there has to be so much more information generated and sent across the internet that you start talking 8K, nobody's going to be receiving that. A 4K, you can say, well, okay, we make our videos in 4K. If you've got a phone, you're not going to see anything in 4K. The format is just too small. You couldn't tell, if you were seeing it, the amount of download speed that you would have to truly view 4K is tremendous. 1080, yeah, you can maybe do 1080, but the good sweet part is I'm going to say 720 to 1080. Those are probably the two standard. We go with 720 because even though we have a cable provider here for our internet, our upload speeds are roughly 10K, 10 to 11K. So, 10 to 11 megabits, which that alone would support a 1080, but it's borderline. And we have found that even with the connection that we have with internet, it's just that would induce buffering from time to time. It's just not worth having. I feel you're better off presenting a clean broadcast, a clean stream at a lower resolution where everybody can see it okay, and I think it's a better user experience. So that's the reason we use 720p. If we there are times if we had higher bandwidth here. And what's interesting is when we go out and do things like at the Shindig and the Gathering and Doug and Stacy's or at the HOA and do the live broadcasts, we're doing that all through a hotspot, either a MiFi connection or directly through our phones. And while our phones and the hotspot, they don't have the download speed that our cable company can afford us, their upload speeds are very good. The upload speeds that I get here are 20 megabit, about twice as good. And I could upload that with that, but we just run with 720p. It's just good and solid, and we have good luck with it. So anyway, back to this. When you first install this is the position I recommend that you get into, is you have it set up for studio with the two screens, the left and the right. There has to be a scene, and it's by default it's just called scene, but there's no sources. There's nothing for it to do. So you go over here to sources and you click on the plus side, and that gives you a selection of potential sources that you can utilize. If we just run down through them, the first one is an audio input capture or an audio output capture, a browser source, a color source, a display capture. Maybe I should just talk about these just for a moment. So the audio input capture, this would be for like a microphone. If you have external microphones or using the default microphone within the device, depending upon what it's on. An audio output capture. Well, let's say that, let's say you have a MP3 player on the system and you want to capture music from that MP3 player. You can direct it into that. Browser source, I think that's self-explanatory. It's like a browser. Color source. Color source, well, that just pretty much what it says. I can name it whatever I want. Let's call it red. And we'll say okay. And select the color, and we will just make it red. And we'll say okay. Now, if you notice, it's a 1920 by 1080. That's the resolution of this particular laptop. And so we'll say okay, and I now have a red background. So that's my color source. I have display capture. So the display capture is going to select, or gives you the ability to select if you have multiple monitors hooked up to your device. On this laptop, I do have multiple. So I'm going to click this, and we're just going to go, we're going to call this one main. And we'll say okay. And this is the main screen on my laptop. So if I click OK, you are now seeing the main screen on the laptop. And it is on top of the red background. And that's just by order of the way these are positioned over here. And I can change those. So the display is still there, but it's now covered up by the red. All right, let's continue down the list here. Game capture. Okay, if you're a gamer, I doubt that anybody in here is a very heavy gamer anyway. Well, I don't know. Maybe that copper kettle might be a gamer. I'm not sure, but Mrs. Naked Gardener is probably a gamer. That could very well be.
Well, Misty was.
Yeah.
That's how Misty. Yeah, Misty was. Deanna was. Crystal is.
Yeah, I guess got a bunch of gamers in here.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, if you are a gamer and you want to capture your game, this is a way to capture that on a second screen. When it talks about image, well, let's just go. We'll just call it pick. It's okay. And of course, now I need to browse through the machine. And let's see. Let's find something here. There we go. Okay, so I have an Alderman Farms PNG picture file here that I'm going to select. I'm going to say OK, and as you can see, it's a transparency. It's a PNG file, and the size was, when I selected this, I didn't alter the size at all. I can do that here. I can come in here and let me lock these other two. There we go. We got the picture.
Pizza Homestead just gave us $5.
Pete, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So I can come in, and if I want to resize this, they call this a transformation. So I can go into, I have selected the pick in the source, and I'm going to say fit to screen. So it fits it to screen, top to bottom, left to right, centers it. That's everything it needs to do. So that's a quick way to get that done. As we continue down the list, there's an image slideshow. What this allows you to do is to put a number of pictures in, and they will rotate. And there's different transitions. You can either use a fading transition or a slide transition. And I'm sure, for example, if you were here when we first started tonight, in the one setup screen, I use that where I show the different products that we utilize, such as GIMP and Cybernetics and Filmora, the different editing programs, and I just run those through a revolving door, if you would, showing each of those. So that's the slideshow. Media source, consider that to be a video. And again, if you were here when we started, I kind of advertised our Monday night lives, some of the different folks that we've got coming up. And that was just a short video clip that was made. Then they have what they call an NDI source. Well, an NDI source is NDI is a protocol that's utilized by some devices to transfer not only video, but audio as well, wirelessly across devices or across the network. So you can utilize, you can have an NDI program on your phone, whether it be an iOS or an Android, either one, and utilize your phone as a webcam directly to this program. So you could, and I don't have it set up on this at this point in time. I probably will have here in the near future, but I do not have it set up that way right now, where this can be a webcam and I can walk around the room here or within a reasonable distance to the computer that I can just broadcast as a webcam using this NDI source. When it says scene here, this allows me to, let's say we have multiple scenes over here on the left, and we will look at a couple of those later, but I can select the scene to display in this scene. So it's a concept of sandwiching different scenes where you can build upon one scene to another. And text. So we'll just go, we'll call this one sample. All the fonts that you have loaded on your computer are in here. So you could pick any of these. And you just type in here whatever you want. And it puts it on the screen. And of course, you can center it, you can move it, you can enlarge it. You can do whatever you need to do with that. We'll talk more about the text here in just a moment. The VLC video source, this is an extra program. This is not native to OBS. VLC is its own program. But what this allows me to do is stack up multiple videos in a row. And again, this is, I use this here. We played the little promo video, and then we did the Poor Boy Homestead video. They're just both listed in that back to back, and it just plays through those and stops. So it's just a way to do that, not only for videos, but for music. Video capture device. We're going to come right back to that in a moment. Then there's a Windows capture. So if I have... Let me do this. Okay, I've gone over... I've just opened up a Google window, and I'm going to put it back over on the primary screen or the main screen of the computer. So I'm going to come into here. And we're going to go Windows Capture. I'm not going to name it. We'll just leave it default. Well, this is, I only have the one window open, so it selected it. Guess I could use some of these others, but this is the window that's open on the other side. So if I click OK, I now have the window that's open on the main screen. We're going to go ahead and take it back off. And the video capture device. So again, we'll just leave this as default. We'll come in here. This is the webcam, or any cameras that you have attached to your PC. So I have to come in here and go to the drop down. And you can see here that says OBS virtual cameras, as I mentioned before, and you can utilize these. These will show up in other programs like Zoom. Zoom will say, hey, I want to use your camera and your microphone for you to connect. Well, if you are running OBS on your system, you can say, okay, use the OBS camera, because that way I can control what's going out. I have more control.
Do you use NDI to bring in a Skype session?
Yes.
Geeky Gardens answered that. You need to, they can't hear me, Daryl, so they don't know what you're saying yes to.
Okay. Geeky Gardens has apparently asked the question, do I use NDI to bring in these Skype sessions? And that is 100% the way we do it. And that's the reason, that's another reason that, couple reasons. On our Monday Night Live shows, our preference is for all of our guests to connect with Skype. And there's multiple reasons for that. One of those is Skype uses less bandwidth for a higher quality picture than any other program. It also has the NDI enabled, so I can capture that Skype picture and sound if I chose to get the sound in that fashion, which I do not. But I could just import that directly into OBS and display it. So anyway, I have the.
Hold on, we're not done.
We're not done.
Cecilia's asking how many cameras can you set up on a laptop?
Probably. How many cameras can I set up on a laptop? I'm learning this because she's talking to me. You guys can't hear what she's asking me, and I'm just answering the question. So I'm getting there. Sherry is schooling me on the proper etiquette here. So anyway, the question is, how many cameras can you set up on a laptop? That's going to be dependent upon your laptop. How much power does it have? The laptop that I'm utilizing here right now, I have had as many as 8 cameras of various forms connected to it at one time at some of the events that we've done the live broadcasting at. I don't display that many cameras because that's just crazy. There's too many to see. But they're set up that way that I can switch scenes. I can look off to the left-hand side. Let's look down the road this way. Let's look down the road to the right. Let's look in the other room. And that can either be anything from webcams to VCRs to GoPros. Or I don't have any, but if like a DSLR. So you can do all of those.
And Tori asked her question.
And Tori asks, what did she ask?
See the all caps?
Daryl, we have recently set up our scenes, camera options for different scenes with chat box, etc. Every time we open, it does not save our setup.
It's supposed to be, we've been practicing is what she was trying to say.
Even after hitting the lock. When you say it doesn't save them. In other words, when you close OBS and reopen it, they're not there anymore. Is that what you're telling me?
Geeky Gardens has a question.
On my desktop, I have to make sure USB cameras are each on a separate USB controller. I do not. Matter of fact, I utilize UBS hubs. And again, this is partly to do with your laptop. But I have 2 different 7-port UBS hubs that I utilize. So and I do these when we go out and do the live streams at the meetups. And I'll set these out here. This gives me all my camera inputs, my microphone inputs. Everything is done through the USB. So I don't have any problem hooking up more, but I can tell you I've got a relatively beefy laptop here. It's an i7. It's got 12 gig of memory, and it is solid state drives, and it is a quad core processor, and it taxes it pretty good when we're broadcasting at an event like HOA or Shindig or one of those places.
Cecilia has a question for you as well. There's more.
What do you use when you have only 2 plug-in areas? So your plug-in areas, I'm assuming you're talking a USB port on your computer. Don't have out here. What I'm talking here, let me do this. Okay, this is not one that I actually have, but this is a 7-port USB hub. Here's a 4-port USB hub. You'll typically see things like this at Walmart, or they're not very expensive, but they're not powered either. If you go to a place like, Best Buy, everybody has a Best Buy, right? And let's just go USB hubs. Okay, these top 2, these are just little 4-porters. They just plug in. These are good to, maybe you want to plug in a thumb drive and a controller for a wireless mouse or wireless keyboard. They are good for things like that. What you're going to want to utilize when you start using a lot of webcams or something like that, you want a powered hub. So you're gonna get into something more like this. I want to make sure that I'm showing you the right thing here. I'm not saying to buy this. I'm just quickly looking here, and I'm not seeing it. I don't see that this is powered, which all right, let's do it this way. Let's make sure we are showing you correctly. Well, I would have guessed that I could have just gone here right away, but it's not showing me that. So let's go to a good place. Okay, so this is a 7-port powered USB hub. This is very similar to what I have and use, and it allows. It doesn't depend on the host, on the computer or laptop or desktop or whatever you're plugging this into. It's not dependent upon that to provide power for the other devices such as microphones or webcams or other devices that require power. I have a monitor. Matter of fact, the one that you are looking at right here, that I have that I'm displaying this on. This is a USB monitor that's connected to the laptop that is 100% through the USB. So it doesn't require 110 volts to plug in anywhere. I have this with me all the time when we go and do the live streams at the various meetups, because I don't need 110 volts for it. I can just play through the laptop and away I go. Is there more questions?
Tori said it does not save the camera settings. It saves our layout, not camera settings.
Okay, when you're saying camera settings, I'm guessing you're talking about perhaps the amount of zoom, or perhaps the white balance, exposure. Are those the settings you're referring to? And if so, OBS doesn't control any of those. That's all stuff. I mean, they have a way that you can get to it through OBS. So it'll say camera settings and opens up probably a little Logitech window that you can control the zoom, and sometimes you can angle the camera up and down or left and right, or zoom in or zoom out. That's all. That has nothing to do with OBS saving those functions, if that's what you're talking about. Okay. So anyway, where we're at, we're looking at right now. I have the
Cam layout is different, is what Sydney's saying.
the webcam layout is different.
I told them to mark on you.
Okay, Marco me. All right. So I've got the default camera on the laptop, the one that's built into it. So if I put my hand over the camera the webcam that I'm looking at here, you can see that it takes me out of the picture there. And I can go to the laptop and cover it up. So you can see I've got two different cameras here, two different devices. But we'll just click OK. And of course now I'm on the screen here, and I can resize it to be full screen. I can create custom things around this picture. I can turn it on and off right here. It's literally endless. Now I can also, last thing we're going to talk about here is I can set up some filters. So let's I'm not set up to do this very well at this point, but let's set up the chroma key. And I just set it up for blue. And I'm just showing you this just so you can see kind of what it does. So I have a dark blue shirt on. It's made it invisible. So you can see my picture on the right-hand side of your screen where I'm looking at you through the other thing. And you can see my picture on the camera here where I have my hands in front. And you can't see my shirt because it's been blurred out. And I guess it is after 9 o'clock. And I'm sure we have some other people that want to get on here. So I've been using an old iPad to post to Facebook. It has a filming feature, but the quality is not that great. Is there something I can do to make it look better? See, the mask is still dark. As far as filming, the key thing for any filming is light. If you can provide more light where you're filming, that would be a big plus thing. So the overall environment, if you can just provide more light, that would probably help your pictures tremendously, especially with some of the older units. The aperture on them is not large enough to let in enough light. They're just not very friendly with low light situations. So if you can just up the when Sherry does her videos in our kitchen, which is not dark, but we have how many lights are around there? 5 or 6?
6, I think.
6. We have 6 very, very, very bright lights around the top of the ceiling that all shine down in the area to get as much light in there as even as possible. And even then, I sometimes add some additional side lights to help prevent shadowing and it just produce a better picture quality. And I have a camera phone, that's why I'm asking. I can't get one right now.
Yeah, iPads are crap.
Yeah,
Especially if they're old.
try. Let me ask you this. Just try filming something outside in good daylight. Is that picture okay? If it's outside in good daylight, you get a decent video from that. If you do, the whole secret to that is going to be light. And you can increase the light source for a lot less money than you can you're buying new cameras. Mama Z, you need a new mic? Maybe you just need to talk louder. Microphones are another rabbit hole we can go down. So, I don't know if you like this type of discussion. If you want to naturally NC, absolutely use reflective light. I have some of the similar to what people would expect to see for chicken brooders. They've got the round can, the single light bulb in it. But to soften that, and that's what I have turned on here right now. To soften that, you can just utilize a napkin or paper towel. Now you don't want to you don't want to start a fire. So be aware what you're doing. But I utilize LED bulbs, very, very little heat, and I cover them with white paper towel to soften the light, make it not so harsh, and make the light a little better. Yeah, Cecilia, if the picture is acceptable from, doing it outside in good daylight, that's the whole. That's going to be your whole key. Is to up your light game. Now you don't have to go out and spend gazillions of dollars on camera equipment either. You certainly don't have to do that. Okay. Naturally, and see what did I tell somebody I shouldn't have? All right, we're gonna let you guys go. It's I've been on here too long, but if you want to continue this, if you want to narrow it down and talk about something more concise. Well, Brad, maybe for you, but when you're showing your knives, you want those really lit up well. For those of you in the chat here that maybe don't know BC Truck, this man can make some knives that are you'd just be envious for. He does a fantastic job.
Well, from the pictures, we assume that, right?
Yeah, we assume that. I mean, he's never been felt so kind as to send us samples or anything. Oh, don't tell Mama Z to talk louder. Okay. All right. So, and I guess Mrs. Naked Gardener, you're gonna Marco me. Okay, you have an OBS light blinking. Is your camera... There should be a setting on your cameras. How can I show this? For hertz, whether it be 60 hertz or 50 hertz. And I have an idea, Dutch, that the hertz in your neighborhood is 50 hertz. And chances are very good the camera you have is set at 60 hertz. So it's going to capture that blinking of the light, and that's just the electric cycles. That'd be the first place I would check, is to go to my camera settings and adjust that setting to change the hertz on the camera, be it 50 or 60 cycles per second. Brad, you are more than welcome. You make some amazing, you do some amazing things in your shop.
It's 20 after day.
All right, I'm being told it's past time. Yeah, Dutch, you're going to find a setting in most cameras where you can adjust that setting 50 or 60. I'm guessing in your country there it's 50 hertz. Here in the States it's typically 60. And that can make all the difference in the world. All right, folks, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you coming and stopping by. Peaceful Homestead, thank you so much. Appreciate your super chat. Thank you to our moderators. Thank you, Sherry, for getting the questions to me. Somewhere I have a finish screen. There it is. Okay, everybody have a nice evening, and we'll see you again come Thursday. Good night, folks.